Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a Firefly Aerospace stock analysis. Now, as you can see, the stock graph is very small, and that is of course because Firefly first IPO'd on the, I believe, the 7th of August last year. Now, ever since the IPO, it hasn't been the greatest stock to own, as you can see on this graph. Now, we have a double bottom down here, and we also have a double top up here. So if we can break through this double top right here, chances are we're going to rise quite a bit more, also because we have the momentum with us. But if it goes downwards again, chances are we're going to see a triple bottom here, and we might even go all the way down to 19 bucks. So firstly, something you should note about Firefly, it's a relatively small company with a market cap at 5.27. Now, even though the beta only says 1.29, this is a 1-year beta, and since we haven't hit that yet, chances are this might be wrong. I do believe the beta is a bit higher, maybe close to 2. And the beta is how volatile the stock is compared to the average index, so I would definitely think this is closer to 2 than 1.29. And we can also see their basic EPS is negative, which isn't a great thing. However, the volume is quite nice for such a small stock, but we can also see the volume hasn't always been this high. If we look at the graphs down here, this is the volume. So previously the volume has been quite a lot smaller, but in some periods we see it absolutely spike. Now in the RSI as well, we can see it spikes up and down quite a bit. Now, if talking about the RSIs, that is down here, that is called the Relative Strength Index. So when a stock rises rapidly, it rises in the RSI, and this is of course show which momentum a stock has. Now, if it goes above 70, and when it rises rapidly, this is being in overbought territory. So when it's up here, it's much more volatile than when it's below 70. Now, when it's below 70 but above 50, it's just in the upper channel, meaning it's rising slowly but surely. So often be a bit more careful when it's up here in 70, because as you can see right here, it falls down afterwards. Now, of course, this isn't a given, it's going to do that, but 9 out of 10 times it has a small dip right after being up here. So personally, I never buy when it's being in overbought territory. Now, the opposite is also true when it's down here below 30, that is when it's being oversold. However, I do like to buy it when it's down here because the opposite is true. Now, I don't short stocks, so I never short them when they're down here, and I even wouldn't. But it's a great opportunity to buy when it's down here. And now, when it's between 50 and 30 or 50 and 70, of course, it's just upwards or downwards. Now, we do have a golden cross right here, which is a great technical to show that the momentum is better. Now, if we look at the earnings, it isn't the greatest, but then again, it's a relatively new company, so of course you shouldn't expect that. Now, if we look at how they make their money, well, they're not making any proper money yet, but we shouldn't expect it either. As I said, it's a quite new company. But if we go into their financials, we can see how do they make some of their money. We have spacecraft solutions, launch, and other, but other really doesn't consider. We shouldn't take this into consideration. Now, launch and spacecraft solutions, I'm going to show you which that it defines now. So firstly, we have Alpha. This is our flagship rocket at the moment, and as you can see, it's quite a small rocket, as it only can have just about a ton on board, and it's quite a small rocket, only having actually being below 30 meters tall. But they are currently building another rocket with Northrop Grumman called the Eclipse. That is this one right here. As you can see, it is 60 meters tall and has 16 times the payload. And it's going to be quite great to see if this actually works out. It's going to be a huge game changer for Firefly. But that is now they make their money. That is in the orbit. That is the Elytras. So these Elytra, they have Elytra Dawn, Dusk, and Dark. Each of these has different purposes. What the exact specificity in them, I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I am not an aerospace expert. But in overall, this is to help other satellites. It could be refuel, reposition, or repair. Now, this one is definitely the most used one, as it is for low Earth orbiting. Now, they also have something that is quite unique, and that is the Blue Ghost right here. This is the first thing that has landed on the moon in 50 years. So that looks like this. And what the exact purpose of some of these, to be honest, I don't know, as I haven't been able to find a concrete answer, so I won't speculate on that. But it is quite interesting that they have landed on the moon. So, of course, as NASA is currently exploring landing on the moon, I definitely think Firefly is going to be a great bet that they're actually going to do that, and they're going to be making some great money. Now, let's get back to the stock. Now, also, if we look at the countries that they're only in the United States at the moment, but of course that can change in the future as they're getting bigger and bigger. We can see that in their revenue. Now, if we take a look at the overview, we can see something quite nice. They have virtually no debt at all compared to their market cap, and they have 3 times as much cash as they have debt. This is absolutely amazing to see. I don't like how many employees they have, but I don't know how many employees are needed for such a space company, so I really won't go further into that. Something I, however, also don't like is how many closely held shares they have. This is probably early investors or maybe a CEO like Jason Kim. And the reason I don't like this is they can then dilute the other investors in Firefly Aerospace at the moment. I say I don't own any at the moment, and one of the reasons for that is simply it hasn't been on the stock long enough, and I also own some other aerospace companies, so I won't be leveling my portfolio too much against space itself. Now, if you scroll down further and look at the seasonals, there isn't much to look at, but overall, as you can see, last year wasn't great to own the stock. This year, however, it has been quite great. So if we can hold this top right here and not go downwards again, it's going to be great to own the stock. And I have to say, I think in the long run, Firefly is one of the best aerospace companies you can own. Now, if we take a look at the technicals, we can see for the day it's a buy signal, and for the week it's a buy signal as well. Actually, it's a strong buy. The month, however, we don't even have that. And if you don't know what technicals are, this is taking into consideration the price action recently and saying should you buy the stock at the moment or should you sell. So technicals say you should buy if you're taking a day perspective or a week perspective. Now, I also like the month, but given the fact that it hasn't been on the stock exchange that long, we can't really look into that. Now, the analyst rating on this are quite decent, not their price target, but just the overall recommendations. So we have 5 strong buy and 3 hold. Now, the average stock price within a year is 32.86. That is about what we're having now. Now, the lowest one is 28 bucks and the highest one is 40 bucks. Now, they're both quite conservative. I do think chances of us being higher in a year is quite big. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was about 47 or even 50 bucks within a year. And the reason is, of course, also SpaceX is going on the stock exchange, which means just aerospace in general is going to get a ton of exposure just given the fact that Elon Musk is getting much more money and getting SpaceX on the stock exchange. Now, if we look at their EPS, we can see they performed quite nicely last year, actually reporting a lower loss than estimated. And also in 2026, this year, and 2027 and 2028, they're going to be making losses, of course, also estimating, and first making money in 2029. But that is again to be expected. But this overall, that they halved the estimated loss is quite great. Now, their annual earnings that is also skyrocketing, so to speak, as they're making more and more, or at least estimating to make more and more money. They're estimating to make almost 3 times as much money this year as last year, and I can't wait to see them actually do this because it's going to be great to see if they can do that. Now, in 2029, they're estimating to make almost 2 billion. Again, it's going to be quite crazy to see. Now, as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was around 50 within a year, but I also think you shouldn't take way too much of this serious because or not serious, but you shouldn't think this can't go wrong because such small companies like Firefly Aerospace can also go straight back down. It could be worth 10, 11 bucks. And as I said, it has a it's a 5.27 billion-dollar market cap, so it is quite a small stock. And always, always, always be careful in such small companies as it can go wrong very quickly. Now, if you like this video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And of course, remember this isn't financial advice. This is purely for entertainment and educational purposes. But if you want to see more videos like this, please leave a comment, comments, and likes in the comment section below.